How do you make this a real neighborhood, especially when the people can't even afford to live in Lower Pacific Heights? Very similar issues. Gladly, the state at least recognized that Japantowns throughout the state were kind of ending, so they had to study. I was just thinking one positive thing would be to get a group to look at. If you're not saving just buildings, how do you save the character and the culture of sexual minorities, like in places like the Castro? And I think the state of California is very actually interested in some of these projects. There is some money out to do that. So,
preserve us as relics?
well, me too.
I want to just add what this gentleman said about the revolution and winning the war with all the activism, that you've actually made some real headway in leveling the playing field. What if the community is not a gay community, it's a city that is gay? And what if, and that being the case, what about if capitalism just takes over? And I think that's what you're talking about, is that a lot of the gay people who have lived there have moved out, and they still visit because they still think of it as the Mecca. But what they don't have is you don't have the same kinds of processes that built the neighborhoods in the first place. You won the war, but when you do win the war, then you have a different dynamic that comes in. Capitalism takes over, and it's flat. It's people who want to live in a neighborhood.
Part of the war was against capitalism.
All right, so let's go. Are people okay with going another few minutes, or are you guys kind of set? It's warm in here. Okay, so let's wrap up.
I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
I think that you were comparing and contrasting sort of living in the Castro versus in District 5 where you live. And I think fundamentally what we need to look at is, you know, you're happy there and you have your lesbian across the street and all this kind of stuff.
That's very dear to him.
Yes, I can relate. Can you tell me what the top 3 important things on your district supervisor's platform is? What are his 3 biggest issues?
I can't actually. I do know a little bit, but not the 3 top issues, no.
Right. And so it's that dilution. When we move out of this place and we're diluted, we have less ability to impact the agenda of the people who represent us. And so even though Ross is a fabulous guy, he's on our side, we love him to death, but queer issues aren't his issues. You know, we have the ability to talk to him and educate him, but we don't have the same pull. And it's our geographic concentration in the Castro that gives us the ability to make sure that we have a representative there for whom queer issues are the #1 thing, let's hope. Or at least in the future. I mean, or going forward, we maintain that ability. And I think that that's the fundamental.
But that's also because we now have district elections. We haven't always had that, and we may not in the future. So
right.
What do you do?
Right,
that's one of the things that's at risk. And that's what we're talking about. What are we risking?
I just want to say that thanks to the GLBT Historical Society, an organization that I really respect, and I think we all should support them, this kind of discussion can go on. There are very few places where this discussion occurs, and where it can occur from a historical perspective and then taking it into the future. So that is really, really vital. I would love, just as a parting word, to see the GLBT Historical Society be transported to the Castro and do anything. That's my end.
2 sentences, no way.
That was one.
I guess I would basically say I think we've lost the war. I don't think we won the war. We lost the war. The dot-com boom totally crushed us because the activists got kicked out of the Castro and they stopped setting the agenda, and therefore the war got lost because they were the activist agenda, they were the radical agenda, and we've lost it. So we've lost it.
We'll get out of here then. Vegan commie.
Anarcho-socialist, thank you.
Well, we're going to preserve it.
What I want to say is that the most important part of tonight isn't us, it's you. And I don't mean that as just a rhetorical flourish, but really, the most important part of tonight is each one of you, even you all down there who probably don't feel so much a part of this. I mean, you thinking about these issues, questioning them, your reservations, your hopelessness, as well as thinking about what might be and what you want to work for the Planning Commission. It makes a difference what happens at the Planning Commission, what happens at the Board of Supervisors. You know, talk to Bevan Duffy, talk to the other politicians you run into at the gym, and express your concerns. You don't have to agree with any of us, but participate. That's what creates the community. That's what creates the future of the community, is to participate and to have everybody responsible and involved. So whether you liked anything we said or hated anything we said, think about it, talk to people about it, participate, get involved.
Great.
That was beautiful. I completely agree with that. I think that the problem that's facing us with this Castro, with queer community, and giving it a physical place is incredibly challenging, and more challenging than preserving Chinatown or an ethnic minority one, for the reasons I mentioned. And in Chinatown it was so much easier because preserving the building stock was inherently helping to preserve the opportunities for people. That building stock was very unique. It was SRO housing, very small. There's not a lot of people that want to live in these little tiny units, but new immigrants will live there. And if just preserving our housing stock in the Castro, you know the economic pressures that's on that's not affordable housing. So it's a challenging issue, and it's going to take a lot of discussion for us to come to the right solutions, and I encourage everyone to also stay involved.
Well, I just want to thank the panel so much for being here. And Jerry, I especially want to thank you for giving the Historical Society pitch, so I don't have to. I do want to say that we are a membership-based organization, and we have been sustained now for 21 years, primarily through the small donations of individuals who care and have a passion for preserving our past so that we can understand how to build our present and envision our future. And so I encourage you to grab a membership envelope when you leave. I will race to the door after this and be handing one to each of you. And think about sending it in with the check in there. Finally, I want to mention that next Wednesday we have another provocative question for a panel, which is, do we need a gay press? And that's another panel we're going to be having. It's from 6 to 8, and Rick Gerharder is convening it as part of the Gerharder photojournalism exhibit that's up right now in the second gallery here. And then finally, any events that we have are now on our fabulously redesigned and actually accessible website that has current events on the front page. So go to www.glbthistory.org to check out what we're doing in the future, because we always have a lot going on. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.